What's going on, people? Chef Henry Dudley, Chef Gang Podcast Show. Man, we are out here live and direct. I'm here in D.C., Northwest D.C., man. Ghostline D.C. is the actual space that we at. It's a totally dope concept, communal chef space, multiple concepts in one house. Sort of like a barbershop where each barber, each stylist has their own space. And, they depend on each other to keep the place open. And then, this is just dope. They depend on each other to sustain. I mean, you got a fried chicken concept, you got an Indian concept, you got sushi, you got, neo-Asian. I'm just totally blown away right now by what I'm seeing. The artwork, the murals, the water, you know what I'm saying? It's just, I'm here today. Want to meet up with a pretty well-known black chef. You know what I'm saying? We about to do some things, some big things, and have some conversations, and it's crazy to get with another black chef, and you guys are totally aligned, conceptually and from an ideological standpoint. We're going to talk about food, DC food culture. You know what I'm saying? We're going to look at the things that he's doing, his new concept. Man, we're going to have some fun today, We're here today, DC, nation's capital, you know what I'm saying, at Ghostline, DC. We're going to check out Chef Rock Harper, Queen Mother's, DC. Catch us, Chef Gang Podcast. Just remember, black food matters, man. Black food matters. Yo, what's good, everybody? Chef Henry Dudley, Chef Gang Podcast, man. I'm here in D.C. and I'm loving it right now. I'm loving the vibe. I'm in here with a legend. I don't know if he's gonna call me a legend. I don't know how you feel about that. He's kind of a humble dude, you know what I'm saying? But one of the greatest chefs I think I come across in a long time. Black chef at that. I'm in the building with my man, Chef Rock Harper. Chef, what's good, man?
Thank you, man.
Pleasure to have you.
Good
You know what I'm
to
saying?
meet you.
Thank you for having us in your kitchen today, in your space. I know you're busy, so we're gonna try to hold you too long.
Yeah, it's all good.
But I gotta know what the hell you doing down here in DC right now. You know what I'm saying? I know you're a local guy, I know you do your thing, but talk to me about what's going on, because I'm hearing a lot of crazy shit.
Yeah.
And I'm happy to be here, I'm excited, so it's on you, brother. What you doing here today?
Well, I appreciate you having me on the Chef Gang Podcast, man. Y'all doing some great work. But I'm frying chicken, brother.
All right.
It's very simple. You know how as chefs we have all of these explanations of our cuisine. I'm cooking black food.
Because black food matters.
Black food matters, and the creators of black food are black women. So Queen Mother's is my energetic push in that direction to reframe our food, to take ownership of it, and using the one thing, right? We are not limited to fried chicken, but that's the one thing that is symbolic of black food, but we also push away from.
Most definitely.
We're doing the other thing. We're gonna grab it, we're gonna own it, and it's gotta be good too.
No doubt. So tell me about conceptually, this whole, does this consider the ghost kitchen?
Yeah, so we at Ghostline, right? So Ghostline DC, 2340 Wisconsin Avenue Northwest, right up top of Georgetown. And Ghostline is similar to a ghost kitchen, but not. So ghost kitchen is doesn't have a brick and mortar. We're a little bit of that. We got a brick and mortar, obviously. You can dine on the patio. Mm-hmm. We do takeout and delivery as well. The other thing conceptually that makes Ghostline different than other energies, I should say, is that we are a collaborative effort in a sense, right? So there's myself, there's Tokri, Chef Priya, she's Indian Comfort, there's Heroes, Uzuba Ramen, there's also sushi coming, and the Gordon Restaurant Group has about 7 concepts. Deck Pizza, Detroit Pizza. So we are interlinked in a certain way that we're not just tenants, so our success is intertwined.
Most definitely. So we ganged up in here, as you see, with our new normal. We ganged up, we masked up, Chef Gang style. Chef, I'm gonna let you get in here and show us what you got going on with this chicken, because I see the meat supplies is looking nice and plentiful.
Very simple,
man. You know what I'm saying? It just boggles my mind how, a guy you know, like you know, you're a J-Woo guy.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Celebrity chef. Do you even like being called a celebrity chef? Do you go for that?
You know, I don't think I am. I think, but you know, it's all good.
It's all good. We're gonna touch on that later.
Right. As long as you don't call me late to the bank. You know what I mean? Just call
exactly.
me.
As long as the check's cash, you're good,
That's
right?
it. You can call me whatever.
Definitely. So let's get to this chicken. Show us what you're doing, man. What you got going on?
The chicken, I'm gonna tell you, I'm not doing too much in the kitchen.
Right.
Because, you know, it's just like your mom or your grandma. Like, you gotta stay out of the kitchen. You know what I'm saying? Until it's done. Like me messing around. But Chef Gang Podcast is a little different.
Yeah.
So your audience, you a little different. So you're getting a sneak preview that nobody else.
This is like rebel music night.
Yes, sir.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes. So we have a brine chicken breast, and the chicken comes from Maryland, so it's local, 8 ounces, so it's really big. I brine it for about 6 hours. There's some nice aromatics in there, and then I have a nice wash that I keep it in, sort of marinating with some more seasonings, a little bit of the flour, and then we come over here to the flour. And again, this is not, I take fried chicken serious.
Super serious.
Right? It's just, part of my goal is, I want cooks, chefs to take our technique and our culture as serious. I want you to understand deep frying the same way that you may sous vide.
Exactly.
Or, you know, doing confit. Right? There's no bad or worse technique, but too often, deep frying is like, oh, just throw it in the deep fryer. Yeah. And that's not the way my grandmother did it. That's not the way my mama does it. So anyway, we press in there, right? Press like really hard. You got to stand up on it to make sure it goes in there. The flour, if you want, we can go back, but because it's marinating in this wash already, it only needs one through.
Right.
Okay? Sometimes I just let that sit. We shake off the excess. Here's a little key too. If you don't see some of those lumps, I'm not gonna say their name, but there's a certain chicken restaurant that has really good lumps on that chicken sandwich.
Lumpy chicken sandwich.
Yes. All that is, you just sprinkle a little bit of the liquid in there and press into it.
Right.
And you get these sort of crusty bits on the edge. See those crusty bits that just form? I know a lot of y'all might say, oh, that's simple. It might be.
You gotta show them, Chef. You gotta show them what's up.
So we shake that off, lay it in the fryer. In about 8 minutes, we're good to go.
Good. So when you do your frying, right?
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? I was always taught, start your fryer for fried chicken at about 350, 340.
Yeah.
Then when you drop, that temperature's gonna drop down to about 320, 330-ish.
Yes.
Is that how you do it?
Yeah, so we stay at 350 on this. As you can see, I got a pressure fryer over here, and that's a beast. It's a whole nother beast.
Right.
But yeah, depending upon the batch, the temperature is going to drop, and you just have to adjust the recipe accordingly. We also use duck fat, about 30% duck fat, and canola oil.
So you're talking about in here, duck fat, canola oil?
Yes, sir.
That's why you're killing them.
Yeah, duck fat. We're not playing around. If I could get...
He's not playing no game. He's frying chicken in duck fat, yo.
If I could get chicken fat, if anybody out there knows where I can get some chicken fat, I would rock with it. Please send me a bucket of chicken fat. But I couldn't find it without it costing $300. We can't do that.
Full cost.
Right.
Full cost, man. So you mentioned cage-free.
Yeah.
So for those who don't know, explain cage-free to people. Because some people would be like, they don't really know what it is. You go to the supermarket and you're like, cage-free and antibiotic or whatever.
Yeah.
You're going with antibiotic-free, you know, all natural chicken. You mentioned cage-free. Tell the people what cage-free is.
Cage-free is, so let's start with the commodity chicken. So commodity chicken is regular old chicken that you see at the grocery store or that you get in many restaurants. Nothing wrong with it, right? But it is these CAFO chickens, right? Commercial, these large feeding operations. I forget what that stands for. And that are these chickens that are mass produced. They sit in these little boxes. They don't have space to move. They are fed a very high, they're fed a diet that allows them to grow at a fast rate. They're fed antibiotics. The certain food industry people would say the antibiotics is to keep them from getting sick. That is true, but the conditions in which they live,
get them sick anyway.
They get them sick, so they create. So there's an after effect. So what we want to do is take all of the drugs. 70% of the antibiotics used in this country go to the food system. That's crazy. We got to change that. Chicken is the #1 consumed meat in this country. So Cage-free really means that they're not in these little cages. It does not have a specific definition. You have to do some research on the farm, because sometimes cage-free can mean that they just can see a light and they can go out if they like. If the chicken's like, oh, you can go out if you want.
Right.
But these roam free, the chickens that we buy, it's more expensive, but we're trying to shift the value, right? We're trying to shift the perception of what food could cost, should cost. So cage-free just means they live like the chickens like you see on TV.
Kind of roam free. And,
exactly.
You know what I mean? Kind of do what they want to do and live. And
eat naturally.
There's no stress in the meat. And,
right.
You know what I'm saying? They're not running around worried about getting their head cut off. And
we don't cut it off.
Eventually, but they ain't worried about it.
Yes. Which, I'm a real spiritual person, and I believe that transfers over, right? The stress that we cause in our food system transfers over in our bodies and our earth. So we got to do as best we can to sort of mitigate that.
Most definitely.
Yeah. So we frying a little bit. It's looking pretty good.
Oh man.
Yeah.
You gotta get the camera in here.
You got the bits on there.
Right.
And then, it's just swimming around. I like to check, make sure it's 165. Some chefs, they too good to pull out the thermometer. Slim, I'm not too good
to cook right.
I gotta make sure. So we'll put it in there the long way. Let's see where we at. All right, 127. We're not there yet. I'm rushing. But while that's working, I'm gonna toast the bun. So first break, brioche bun, butter, clarified butter, and we just want to toast it. Right? Very simple, like. So clarified butter.
Nice.
Came out kind of quick.
Nice color on it.
Yeah. And it's just nice and warm. It's soft. We got a lot of salty, sort of savory goodness up in there. We got to pay homage to our, to the creators.
Yes.
Right? I almost called it Prince's Hot Chicken, but I didn't want to piss nobody off. You know what I mean? But I do want to pay homage, and I'm gonna figure out how to do that appropriately. So what I did, I got the sauce here.
So what's this sauce?
I call it. Won't piss off some of my French teachers in school. It's mother sauce.
Mother sauce.
I'm gonna piss off some people, but it's all right. So what is coupon mayo, green mayo, right? Which is nice and tangy. Got a nice rich flavor to it. A little ketchup, bunch of seasons, paprika, garlic powder, onion powder, a little sea salt. So it's just one of those sauces that you put on everything.
Most definitely.
And this is not normal. I mean, this doesn't come with it, but I pickled some jalapeno here, a little rice wine vinegar, garlic, pickling spice.
Oh man.
Some other chilies in there. Shout out to, I did this because I'm trying to put Chef Wanda's cooking. I forget Wanda's last name, my bad. She's out in Oakland. She's got this chow chow.
I've had like a nice South Carolina chow chow, but I've never had Wanda's. Wanda, you need to send me some chow chow. Chef Game Podcast, we can put it up here so we can blow you up a little bit.
And this is, people have been, I was hesitant, but people have been saying they want the roasted garlic. So we got crispy onions.
This is a serious chicken sandwich here.
Yeah, man. And then we go here, and then we go here, and it's in the box, but let me just do that.
Oh, have mercy, Jesus.
Let me just, can you see that?
Can you get that? Oh, this is just, like, I see the inspiration. I see you pull even from like some Asian influences with the peppers and, oh my God.
Yeah, we're not playing around.
You're not playing at all, man. Okay, we back here in Northwest DC, man. We ultra black today. You know what I'm saying? I'm here at Queen Mother's, my man Chef Rock Harper. Chef, man, I appreciate you again having us, Chef Game Podcast style. You know what I'm saying? We just take over it. We just do guerrilla shit. That's how we do it.
Yeah.
There's no lactose, no overdose. Like, we just talk the real shit, you know what I'm saying, about the whole chef culture, the subculture, the industry, and we just hit it on the head every single time. One of our missions is to, we like to inform, we want to empower, we want to educate, but at the same time, we want to celebrate.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I don't think that black chefs, we get to celebrate each other enough. So, you know what I mean? It's a pleasure for you to have us here. You know what I'm saying? We want to celebrate you today and what you're doing. Had a great time with you in the kitchen. But I got to say, man, I came through culinary. I'm a little bit older than you.
Just a
you know
touch.
What I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know, you can see I'm a salty dog. You know what I'm saying? I actually graduated culinary school in 1997.
Okay.
So when I came through culinary, and when I got out of school, like, it was rough. Nothing was fucking glamorous about this job at all. I managed guys who just came home from prison, and you know, it was rough. It was a rough undertaking, you know, especially New York City. You know what I mean? I came up through the grind, working in Times Square and so forth and so on. So that's why I was always a huge Anthony Bourdain fan.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I just follow what he did. But I say that to say I saw no black chefs coming up. Mostly all the black people who were working in the industry were dishwashers and things of that nature. No black executive chefs. I think the only black executive chef I knew of was Marcus Samuelson. That was back his like Aqua V days and so forth and so on. But really wasn't like, you know, I didn't look at myself in him. You feel what I'm saying? So, you know, down the line, I'm watching TV, I'm doing this, and all of a sudden, 2007 hits. I'm watching TV, Hell's Kitchen, and I see this black dude killing it. Not only did he kill it, but he fucking won. So,
appreciate it.
Shout out to you for that, number one.
Appreciate that.
Number two is, I just want to know, like, what was that experience like? You know what I mean? What were you doing before that? How did you get on to it, and what were you doing after?
Well, I appreciate that, man. Thank you. I actually was working for B. Smith at DC, which she had a restaurant in New York as well.
Sleep
New
in
York.
peace, yeah.
Yes, rest in peace, the amazing B. Smith. So talking about representation, I kind of got a little lucky, right? So I didn't see a lot either. DC's a little different, but I worked for Bob Johnson right before B. Smith's. So Bob Johnson had a fine dining restaurant called Better on Jazz. And there were three just phenomenal black chefs there: T. Danley, Jacques Ford, and Stacy Tokay Rogers, may he rest in peace as well. So my world, my first glimpse into, you know, the kitchen, a fine dining space, I was surrounded by blackness. And then I got the opportunity to be a sous chef at B. Smith's. Again, I was immersed in blackness and just in big business too. So I was sort of lucky, and later on that would prove to be. I got a little jaded as far as the expectations of what to expect once I got outside of those black walls or black run establishments. You know, I'd worked for B. Smith for about 8.5 years. And you know, I'm ambitious, man. I like to do big shit.
That's like me, man. I'm ambitious as fuck, yo. And sometimes I can't handle it.
And sometimes I got two cells. It's like one on the left and one on the right. And you gotta be like, Slim, slow down. You know what I mean? So at the time, I just wanted something bigger for my career. B. Smith was growing, but not at the rate that my young self wanted to. You know, I wanted to be like corporate chef, and then this reality TV thing in 06, 07 was booming. So I actually applied to or inquired about a bunch of the shows, you know, Next Star and Top Chef, and those two weren't casting, but Hell's Kitchen was. So it was the hardest thing to date at that date that I'd done in my career, and it was the most rewarding as well.
Hard, like how? Like the grind of it, or?
Oh man, the grind of it was just, I mean, Gordon Ramsay is one of the best chefs. No matter how you think about him, he's one of the most popular chefs, obviously, one of the most successful, definitely on the planet. And you don't get to be that without, you know, having high standards. And then there's the element of television. So those two collide in a very big way in Hell's Kitchen. So it was hard in the sense that, one, you're separated from your family. You're in this totally new environment. You're being watched. There's 100 cameras. Very similar to something like this. This reminds me of the patio. You're being watched. You're being judged. And you're trying to win. But also you need these people at the end to win. So you're competing against people that are going to be on your team. And it was just his standards, you know. So it was really hard. I mean, nothing was. I don't want to say it was good enough, but it was really hard. I'm trying to change my life. Everybody there, I think everybody there was trying to change their life. But I said I was going to win from jump because I knew I had a job to go back to, but I'm trying to do something bigger. And a win is something bigger. So it was a grind, man, and it's extremely stressful, but it paid off.
Right. So after,
Yeah.
you know, you win. You know, and we went crazy at my house.
Yeah.
I was like, oh shit, the black dude won. The fuck out. You know what I'm saying? Like, 'cause, we looking at it from a standpoint, we don't see that, so we didn't know how real it was. We didn't know how authentic it was. We didn't know, you know what I'm saying? Then when it happened, we like, nah, you gotta be fucking kidding me.
Yeah.
Like, it's no way in hell this black guy won this big show. But it was dope. But what happened after? Like,
well, and of note, you know, I fried chicken, like, and made crab cakes. I want people. I know we're gonna talk about the culture,
right.
There was a time, right? So as a black chef, we gotta have different personality. It was the duality of the you know, in the Soul of Black Folk, W.E.B. Du Bois talks about duality of the Negro, right? So we have to move different in different spaces. And there was a time at the finale where I had to ask myself, what do I cook? And I said, fuck it. You know, if I'm going, I don't say out, but if I'm going out me. Like, I run a restaurant now. I know these recipes here. I know biscuits. I know cookies. I know all the shit that I did. Milkshake.
I'm gonna get busy.
I'm doing me. If they say, fuck, not Slim, you ain't winning with no fried chicken, I'm good with that. But I fried chicken, bro. Like, I want people to understand that. And I made shrimp and grits on my finale. You know what I mean? I brought my whole self to that table. So after that, went to Vegas, which was a big fucking culture shock.
Right.
Took my family out to Vegas, which you know, was a culture shock. You know, had some rough patches out there, but it was a learning experience. I look back on it, I'm grateful for it all. So went to Vegas. I actually came back to DC, worked for the Ali family. Again, you know, I've never run from my culture. I always love working for my people within spaces that are, you know, make us feel good to be us.
Right.
So the Ali family, Ben's Chili Bowl, obviously we opened a restaurant, Ben's Next Door, right in Obama years, you know what I mean?
Oh, you was involved with Ben's Next Door?
I opened Ben's Next Door. I launched that.
Dope.
Yeah. So that was, you know, I came out actually, Miss Virginia Ali and I share a birthday, December 17th. So I came out and cooked for a birthday party, and like 2 weeks later we were open.
Right.
And then Obama, like the time Obama came to Chili Bowl, we were prepping. Like, so anyway, so it was, so I did that, and you know, I've done a bunch since then, but yeah, I've really tried to stay true to who I am and my goals in life.
What's your culinary perspective, Rock? Like, you know what I'm saying? How do you see food? You know what I mean? When you're cooking it, when you're eating it, like what's your overall perspective of food, how it should be, and what's the Chef Rock perspective?
Yeah, so my perspective, so I have several obviously, but the biggest thing for me is food is a tool. You know, I'm a people person. I love people, and I love people in different ways. Food has always been an opportunity to connect with the person across from me. So I think even right now during COVID, what I try to keep in mind, right, I keep my grandmother and my mother at the core of every decision I make. What are we doing here, right? Are we filling bellies? We nourishing folks? It's just an opportunity to engage and entertain and make people feel good. So I take the food seriously. Best food, best technique that, you know, within the budget that we have. But at the end of the day, to me, the food, this is gonna sound crazy, is not what I'm here for. Not just what I'm here for. People, we don't need chefs. That's gonna be crazy on the Chef Podcast. Nobody needs me, let me say that. Because if shit really goes down, you just need to eat to live.
Exactly.
You don't need a restaurant. So I frame that to say, my philosophy is, like, how am I engaging with this person? Why are they here? What really is the why, the 6 levels deep? Why are they coming to get this? And then on top of that, once you get here, my philosophy is, like, do what you know, like, I don't care what you're cooking, peanut butter and jelly. Don't put no cold-ass peanut butter on the white bread.
Hot food, hot, cold food,
cold food, cold. So use the best technique that you know how, right? I'm not Alain Ducasse. I can't do what he does. And the best money, right? Don't take shortcuts, right? Simplicity. That's the thing about, you know, I don't want to turn this into a Gordon Ramsay commercial, but that's the one thing I resonated with him. It's all about simple execution and best product.
Right.
You know, the dude's food is not like, and many chefs, it's simple, just excellent execution. When you're making a burger, just excellent execution and the best product, and treat it well, treat it with love.
Most definitely. we kind of alike in that. We talked earlier in the kitchen, you know, saying about, you know, it's not about the elevation, you know, it's about the technique and it's about doing food right. And that's always been my thing. It's no matter what you do, what you cooking, just do it right.
Yeah.
Do it the right way. Don't do the shortcuts or whatever. You got to smoke a rib, you know, for 8 hours, then you got to smoke a rib for 8 hours. Right. You mentioned COVID.
Yeah.
There's ain't no way to sugarcoat it. COVID like really has stressed out the restaurant industry as a whole. I think that we're probably getting like the least amount of assistance out of any industry. And I think sometimes that also comes down to, you know, when it's time to spread the money out, you know, the last thing that they do is spread the money out to who they think are the help.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? Back to COVID, like, everybody's stressed out. You know, we got a bunch of chefs still at home, not working. But you got servers, we got cooks, everybody's kind of, you know, displaced right now. Things are starting to slowly come back, but I see this coming back in different ways.
Yeah.
So how do you see how COVID has pretty much ravaged, you know, the scene as far as culinary, and as far as the comeback, like what are you seeing out there?
You know, it's definitely affected the industry. I think we've had to reframe what's really important, right? So we consume a lot of food, a lot of takeout, a lot of restaurant food, and you know, and we have to really, I think as a society, ask, you know, what the cost of food is, right? The true cost of getting that chicken sandwich to my plate, and then we have to put the value to that, and we got to pay for it. What has happened is, you know, it's really weird because nobody's dealt with anything like this before. But we just feel like, oh, you know, everybody will be okay. Like restaurant community has been just devastated as a result, right? It's just, where's the relief? You know, we got some relief. We got $1,200. A lot of people got $1,200. You know what I mean? And that was like 6 months ago.
Right.
And then there was the extra $600 that's gone. And it's just like we floating along. So the lingering effects of that, I've seen people move, I've seen people drop out of the industry altogether. There are people that are homeless, there are people that are being abused, that are abused. There are many things that are the lingering effects of that, all because things just bottom out. It's nobody's necessarily fault, if you will. But, and, you know, we had this big upswell for like a couple weeks, support restaurants, just because they're going down. But we're not looking at, to me, we're not looking at the system of how can this happen.
Exactly.
Like the system of America, where you can just have millions of folks that are in the industry.
Just out of work.
And they're just done. And then there's no, people keep talking about pivot. I mean, you're providing just wonderful resources to folks and showing that you got everything you need. But it's just not so easy for people. If you was making $15 an hour and then they just say, oh, pivot, you're like, what the fuck I'm gonna pivot to? I was a dishwasher 2 weeks ago, bro.
Exactly.
What the fuck you talking about? You know what I'm saying? Like, I gotta pay rent and the moratorium, and my rent anyway. So it has really, back to my original philosophy, we gotta see people as opposed to, you know, what people can do for us, right? A lot of restaurants, we gotta see people. So a lot of restaurants have pivoted to restaurant support, like being grocery stores for making meals.
Right.
Connecting folks. There's so many folks online that are connecting folks with resources and saying, here's how we can do this, and here's how, I mean, I go back to Chef Gang podcast. You're empowering folks to say, here's what you can do.
Exactly.
I think that pivot in mindset is really important, and we got to understand at the end of the day, we in this together.
Exactly. In terms of like, you know, COVID, and we talk about COVID relief or whatever, but I feel like things are starting to come back slowly, very slowly, slower than, you know, I worked through, you know, I was a corporate executive chef for a hotel company during the recession, you know what I'm saying, and I did that for 8 years, and the recession hit, and next thing you know, they downsized everything. I was an executive chef at a 150-room hotel in Jersey, and then 2 years later, they took that away, and you know, so but everything's coming back different. I'm seeing a lot of different type of things conceptually. The ghost kitchen concepts, you know, people are like doing stuff out of their houses, the pick up and the take. You know, how do you see that? Like what's your take on that?
So it's just like a new restaurant. We don't even have a calendar year of what COVID looks like, right? So it's a COVID season. People are scared of shit right now, going into winter, right? Combined with the flu season. What does that look like? People gonna start dying? Are we going back on lockdown? Nobody really knows, right? So as the chef is concerned, just like the 08, 07 recession, or even better, or a better parallel, I should say, is 9/11.
Right.
People forget. Motherfuckers were pissed off at CSA, and it took us a while to come to terms.
Yes.
We have to accept that there's certain parts of our industry that are just simply not coming back. If they do, we're fine. So with COVID, many of the chefs that I know and I see, you're not serving no set. Like, at least I don't see. You're not serving no Versatainer or deli container with 6 courses in it and still getting $85 out of them.
Not.
So. Acceptance is the first step, and what I see is delivery, takeout, and what is the need, right? It might not fit your skill set, but what is the need? People's needs are shifting. Here's what I know. There's a lot of people at home right now with children, right? Children need to eat. They used to eat at school lunch, right? So where did the money come from, the school lunch? How do you get the school lunch to the kids? I don't have this figured out. This is something I'm working on. I'm doing this shit live time right now. Deficit and provide a service, right? So business is all about need and service. You know what I mean? So need and service. So you got to figure out how I can use my skill set. I got to figure out how I can use what I got to fill that void.
Exactly.
And then after that, hopefully you can make some business out of it.
Yeah, man. I'm hoping that I see a lot of the brothers out here who are doing a lot of different things and reshaping the culinary industry, so to speak, from a black perspective, and I love it.
Yeah.
I hate it.
Yeah.
All wrapped up into one. But when we come back, we're gonna get into some more questions. We're gonna get deeper into the culture. Chef King Podcast. I'm here with Chef Rock Harper in the building. We at Ghostline, Queen Mothers, DC,
yes, sir.
Northwest. We'll be right back. All right, what's up? What's good? Chef Henry Dudley. We are back with my man Chef Rock Harper. It's windy out here. The leaves is blowing. It is fall 2020. We are still in the midst of COVID-19 pandemic. Just finished talking about, how the effects of that on the industry and how we need to move forward. I'm just trying to stay positive, Rock. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But then with that, even before COVID, I get in trouble a lot when I start talking about this. But I'm gonna do it fucking anyway.
Do it, baby. Do it. If you ain't making nobody mad, you ain't doing nothing. Yeah.
It's hard for me to turn a blind eye to bullshit. You know what I'm saying? With food and so forth and so on. I'm probably, people always say I'm pretty much a hard ass in the kitchen, but I try to be as flexible as possible.
Yeah.
On top of that, I'm a New Yorker. I'm a New York guy, you know what I'm saying? So I moved to DC area 4 years ago. You know what I'm saying? I'm working at MGM, I'm doing these big things or whatever. And I come across this culture of food that I've never fucking seen before. Now, mind you, I'm hating at this point because I'm a fucking purist. I'm hating on this shit.
At least you're conscious of that.
Totally. And you'll see in some of my earlier podcasts, I was hating hard.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But I must say that I've grown.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? I've grown in this space. I ain't all the way there yet.
Yeah.
But I've grown. DC food culture.
Yeah.
Is something totally different. I don't think that I've seen. Remember I told you as a corporate chef, so I traveled a lot. My family's originally from New Orleans, Mississippi. You know what I mean? So I've seen, the Gulf Coast Fair. I've seen Southern Florida. I've seen the Northeast, Boston, Canada. Caribbean. You know what I mean? I've seen everything. I've seen the West Coast. I got to DC and I was like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah.
Now I do come from, just to lay the foundation, I do come from the Bronx, and I was a latchkey kid, so I understand the whole concept of being by yourself, doing things on your own. Single mothers out working all day, so I'm feeding myself. When I'm not feeding myself, I'm standing outside in the corner. I'm going to the bodega. I'm eating from the Chinese restaurant. This is my culture growing up as a kid, as a teenager.
Yeah.
I liken it to what I see in DC. Whereas you have the kids that probably have some of the same experiences, but they don't have the bodega or whatever. They got the carry out.
Curry out.
In the carry out, you get the Chinese food, you get a sub, you get some wings, you can get everything in this one spot. And then what I saw was that they took that and they spun it up into a cuisine. So I see a lot of these kids that go to culinary school and they work, and I'm looking at their food, I'm like, well, this is just, I'm like, damn, that's the carry-out culture. And basically what they did was they took that and they spun it up to something that's a whole different dynamic. So I don't know if I'm ignorant, but explain DC food culture to me and other people who really have not had the chance to experience it.
You mean black DC food culture?
Black DC food culture.
Okay, so I think that in large part, black DC food culture does not exist outside of Ben's Chili Bowl, right?
Wow.
So, and I don't say that as a dig. I think that for a number of reasons, there has been no, this is what we do here. I mean, we have carryouts. I think we're bigger than that, obviously. And we've also gravitated towards what we support the popular sort of culinary landscape, which are, in many times, is other cultures' food, right? So we go eat everywhere, and we could tell you about everything from top to bottom, wine lists and cuisines and all of that jazz. But as far as our culture being on a map or represented here and what it is in DC, Maryland, Virginia, I don't know if I can say, here's what DC food culture is. Now that is a part of our culture. Like the carryouts are, the best carryouts in DC. I'm a VA guy. Like we got a couple joints, but they ain't like Yums and Danny's, and I ain't been in carryouts in a minute.
Right.
But Eddie Leonard's, name a few. But anyway, it's based in Southern food or soul food, or however you want to frame it. But I don't know if we have like a stamped cuisine here, quite frankly. I'm trying to think of something for someone.
I think a guy coming here from outside, looking in, would say that black DC food culture, is run by or exemplified through what you see in social media and things of that nature. I mean, you got some great chefs that are coming up, some young boys that are really doing it and what have you. But I kind of feel like what I see in DC food culture, and again, I'm ignorant, I'm a New Yorker, so forgive me if I'm speaking out of turn, but I see heavy seafood influence with a lot of home cooking influence, with a lot of carry-out influence. You know what I'm saying? My only criticism that I feel like is everybody's cooking the same shit.
Got you. So, well, here's what I would say. So you're right. So there is a lot of that. One, we're a coastal sort of area, right? So seafood has cultural significance in the black community because it was also always seen as aspirational. Right.
We're balling. We feel like we've come up. If we could come in here and we could eat some lobster, some crab, some
shrimp.
Right.
Exactly. Crab legs. So then you have, and also we are Maryland, Virginia, Eastern. Like we are very close to. Like this is a crab town, or the Mid Atlantic in general, and then we've. I'm not a historian, but we've lived along the coast, and we've farmed and raised a lot of those sea animals. Here's what I'll say: what that grows into is a mashup, and this is going to be a quick little, my opinion, of capitalism. Like, and for us as a black chef, it's like whatever I got to do to get out of the hood. Like, how can I make the most bread? So it ain't dope, right? It ain't nothing illegal. How can I get to the bag as quick as possible? People want crab legs, I'm gonna give them crab legs, right? So I'm not saying that to say there is no, to sort of counter, just to sort of, as I hear you talk about, your view of what goes on, I think that there are many other factors that a lot of times chefs, in particular the next generation or the previous two generations, don't necessarily either understand or really want to hear.
So where's the disconnect?
So I think the disconnect is it doesn't have to be either or.
Right.
It can be both. one, a lot of these youngins, I just heard this little joint on Twitter yesterday. He wasn't talking about food, but this young man, he was 20-something years old, or 30-something. He got killed, actually. But he was talking about, he said, y'all left us. Like, we the post-crack era. It was an activist down there. I forget the young man's name. And he was talking about us. He said, we the crack, y'all left us. And he said, we're the ones that do X, Y, and Z. We're doing the work. And I reflected on that. And it's not that cut and dry, right? So we're all subject. We're all you know, a part of the system. So we were yanked away, and a lot did leave, but as a result of other things. So the disconnect happens where people don't see one another, right? In short, just to summarize, we don't see them and they don't see us. So, and I've done it too. I be hating too, don't get me wrong, but I've come to the awareness or to a place where, you know, whatever works for you, you know what I'm saying? It's just like hip hop. It's just, you got mumble rap and you got Chuck D.
I was just getting ready to say that.
So how can we, there's a different, there's in-house conversations, like some of these youngins are sensitive and some of the old heads sensitive too. Like we can't have the conversation without it being beef. You know what I'm saying? So how can I sit and talk to you, right? How can we rap if you an elder, you from the previous generation, and I'm doing, you know, gourmet wings or carry out wings but elevated, and I got line down the block? How can we rap and have that conversation without it turning into a global beef?
And you know what? I like that you said that, because I think that, you know, for a future show, we got to sit down and grab some of these young heads and have some old heads sit there and maybe have that conversation. You know what I mean? Bring me, you, and, you know, we get some of these guys. I'm not going to drop no names because, you know what I'm saying?
If they ain't too good to come on.
Right. If they ain't, that's the point I was trying to get at. You know what I'm saying?
So that was sort of that was my talk to generational, like the old head, like Family Feud. Hov said on Family Feud, like nobody wins when like in black chef culture, there's a lot of little dumbass feuds, and we're not looking at the 10,000-foot view. Now, okay, old heads, we got to do our part, but the youngins you gotta listen too. We know a little something. The problem is they getting some bread and they think that's forever.
Exactly.
I don't say the problem, it's a challenge. Because when I was getting dope, you couldn't, listen, Slim, when I was
get it.
When I was getting it,
you was getting it,
and I'm still doing okay. But when I was young.
Oh, by the way, Google has your, what do they say, your net worth.
How much?
I didn't even look at it. So I'm not going to do that to my man right now.
I want to know
you can Google it. It'll say, I said, oh, shit.
Google said some shit that is maybe prophetic or fucked up. So I want to know what I'm at.
I was doing my homework on you. I was like, oh, shit. I said, I ain't going to go there with my man.
Listen, it could be forecasted or it could be low. But when I was getting, like, when I was young and getting, like, I mean, checks, and I'm like, whoo, they wrote this to me. My OGs couldn't tell me shit. I didn't want to hear it until peaks and valleys. You call the OG like, yo, I'm leaking.
No doubt.
So if they can come to the table, I would love to do that.
Doubt.
And some of them will.
Yeah, you know, they say this industry breeds assholes. That's just what it is. Like, we got to be a little bit cocky and crazy to do what we do.
To survive.
You get what I'm saying? But, I mean, I think that's just an awesome perspective. I would love to sit down and have a conversation with these guys and see where we're at. Just like you said, it's like hip hop, you know what I mean? You know, one week, and I worked in music, you know what I mean, before I really got into culinary hard. So I saw that whole platform, and, you know, one day everybody's chilling and you know, you got the Sades and the real singers and stuff doing it. The next thing you know, next year, everybody's in the studio, everybody's rapping because they can do it. You know what I'm saying? And just because you can, you know what I mean? Should you? Is the question that I have.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Just because you can do it, should you do it? I came here and I saw a fried lobster tail for the first time in my life, and I was like, what the fuck are they doing? You know what I'm saying?
I did fried lobster on Hell's Kitchen.
No, but I'm saying, I was like, what the fuck are they doing down here? But then, like I said, I was a hater. But I had to start understanding and looking at it from a standpoint like, okay, you know, I always pride myself in saying to other chefs, like, okay, well, you ain't a good chef unless you can constantly reinvent yourself, unless you can constantly learn, and so forth and so on. Like, you can't stay stagnant. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna take a little piece from here and a little understanding from there. But, you know, hopefully we can meet each other where we're at.
But it can be both, though, Chef. It can be both, right? It's just like J. Cole got a song about where he made Nas mad. I forget. Well, he disappointed Nas. I forget the name of the song. You can criticize, like, it's nothing, especially with the youngest, you gotta stop being so sensitive. I can tell you, like, I do this. This is what I do. And I have no problem with telling, like, you can't, I'm a bad motherfucker, right? And you could say, I'm a bad dude, right? But, and I could tell you, within the context, that's some shit. When Nas heard J. Cole's song, apparently it got back to J. Cole, and Nas was like, that shit whack. Now, what did Cole do? Nas didn't go to XXL or Source and say, J. Cole some shit. He didn't tell the world.
Right.
He just said it and it got back, right? What did J. Cole do? Humble dude and one of the greats, right? He went and rewrote his whole shit.
Right.
So it takes a certain, OGs, you gotta say, I gotta be able to put this across the table and say, yo, I'm gonna tell you, Rock, that shit,
right.
You gotta work on that, Slim.
Right.
That's what we need.
Right.
Because if you're just gonna coax me and hug me and, oh, chef, it's good.
Well, the dynamic is different because the younger chefs, they have a different understanding of what their affirmations are as opposed to what ours were. We coming up through, we OGs, quote unquote, we did this shit because we wanted the other chefs to respect us.
True.
I wanted Chef Rock to come. I couldn't say like, yo, I sat at Chef Henry's shit.
It's a really good
and
point.
He killed it.
It's a really good
You know
point.
what I'm saying? Where these younger guys are like, I'm not worried about the other guy. I'm worried about how many likes I get on,
That's a really
on
good
Instagram.
point.
I'm worried about how many orders I get on, in my Cash App and so forth and so on. I could care less about, the dynamic of food and making great food and so forth and so on. So that's my only criticism. Like, you have to have a balance between the creativity and the hustle. You understand what I'm saying? Or else we're going to be left with a dummied down version of what black food culture is, and it's going to be told by somebody else because it's all that they see.
Yeah. I think it's a really good question and a great conversation to have.
Got it.
Yeah.
So, Rock, why does black food matter to you? We got climate, we got a lot of shit going on right now in the world. Why does black food matter?
Because of the stories. So black food, any food, but I can talk about ours. Again, it sounds weird, but it's not the food. It's the stories behind the food. So when you look at, fried chicken, for instance, it's not the food, it's not the chicken. I mean, the chicken is freaking amazing.
Right.
But how did the buttermilk brine come to be? How did Nash's,
Natural,
right, how did that come to be, right? And then you understand, and if you look back centuries and you talk to scholars like Adrian Miller or Jessica B. Harris, Dr. Harris, or Therese Nelson, you see the way the ingredients and the culture and the migration, you see the way it mashed up. So the food is just it's just the entree, and then when you look beneath it, it's the stories, and you can learn a lot about your culture, the genius, the trials, the tribute. Like, you can say, wow, she did this, because it's normally a woman, in order to feed, like, preservation, when there was no refrigeration. I mean, if you probably look at duck confit or, some of these, like, beef jerky, that was just, like, we'll eat the meat, but ain't nobody got no microwave. We had to salt it so it won't go bad, right? And it also was good for it. So anyway, there's that balance, there's that genius of our ancestors. So the food matters because the food is the key to the stories that can sustain, that will always sustain us.
Most definitely. I agree 100%. The stories, the culture, the vision. I mean, I have a master class that I taped about gumbo, and people didn't understand just the history behind it, and what it means okra, and like people don't get it. Like, so there's a lot of layers to this onion. You know what I'm saying? A whole lot of layers to this onion of black food. And I'm hoping that we can continue to spearhead the adventure, so to speak, in unmasking and unpacking what all this culture is about, what all this food is about. And not nothing against French cuisine or other cuisines, but we go to culinary schools to learn other people's approaches on shit that we started.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying?
Crazy.
Like how fucked up is that?
It's guerrilla pimping. It's like, I grew up, like, it was certain jokers in every neighborhood, or not every neighborhood, every city would rob you,
right,
and then sell your shit back to you.
Sell your shit back to you.
And you like, okay. And they know. They ain't selling to a third person. They selling it to you. Like, they guerrilla pimping Slim. It's like, Slim, that's my shit.
How you gonna sell it back to me? Like, we Deboing you, son. Like, give me that. You know what I'm saying? But, like, dope. Man, this has been great. This has been awesome. One last question, man. What's in Chef Rock's mystery basket?
That I'm giving?
If you're gonna give, if somebody came up to you and they had to cook for you, how they come to cook for you in your kitchen? I was applying to work for you. What's in your mystery basket?
One or two things. rice, eggs.
Because if you can't cook either one of them,
I don't give a
you
fuck
got to
about
get out of
nothing
here.
Joking, and it gets them every time.
Gets
Not
them
gets.
every
I ain't
time.
trying to get nobody. Make me some good scrambled. Make me an omelet. Make me just cook me a good bowl of rice.
Dope.
It could be salt and water. I don't
Dope.
care. If you can
Technique.
do that, doesn't mean you're a great chef, but it means that. But if you can't do that, we got a problem
Yeah,
on our
'cause
hands.
some of these guys can boil a crab leg but can't
Oh, they can
make rice.
They can do all sorts of things with the smoking gun.
Right.
and, but you can't cook rice, then we
No
got
doubt.
problems.
We got problems.
Yeah.
Yo, man, this has been a great conversation, my man, Chef Rock. Thank you for having us.
Yo, appreciate
you. Know
you,
what I'm saying? Wishing you supreme success, black man out here.
Thank you, bro.
You know what I'm saying? Showing what you're doing on this block. We
Yes,
had that
sir.
conversation.
Yes,
They
sir.
can come see you.
Yeah.
You heard?
But we
You know what I'm
coming over
saying?
to this side. Absolutely. We ain't crossing over.
Chef Gang Podcast, episode 5. My man, Chef Rock Harper. Yo, before we go, tell them how they can get some of that fried chicken sandwiches out here in D.C., man.
You can go to ghostlinedc.com to order. Come check us on Instagram at Queen Mothers DC. I'm Rock Harper on Instagram and everywhere else. We hope to see you soon.
And we doing shit guerrilla style, man, in 2021. So make sure you do your homework. Research guys like Chef Rock Harper. Research black chefs, man. Don't take everybody else's word for it. You know what I'm saying? We out here. All right, Chef Gang Podcast, we out. Thank you.